The W, the O, the R, the K. The W, the O, the R, the K. Look yourself in the face. Look yourself in the mirror, ask yourself, are you giving 120% every day? Every play? Give me 120 or don't give me nothing at all. The guy you competing against, you haven't outworked him. You've not outworked the person next to you. You've not out-hustled them. You've not out-rhymed them. You've not outdone them. You're not locked in. Bring all your passion. Bring heart. Every single game, every single play. Put forth 120% or don't ask nobody to do nothing to you. The W, the O, the R, the K. The W, the O.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on? Happy Monday to everybody, man. Woo, baby, do we got? Oh, man, it's getting crazy around here, boy. It's getting crazy around here, boy. I'll tell you, man, it's it looking a little rough around these markets, man. And yo, we here though. We here, baby. We here. Yo, we gonna go through it today. You guys seen if you've seen the title, is this Black Monday? And for those of you guys who don't know what Black Monday is, we'll get into a little bit of about what Black Monday is and why I say that, because there's only been one time in history where we've seen these markets drop this far over the course of three trading days. And it kind of set up just like this. You had a Thursday, Friday with a big sell-off, and then Monday morning when you wake up, it was just dropped off the cliff, right? And are we in for that today? We're gonna find out. But is this gonna be Black Monday? I'll tell you guys straight up, I don't think this that you're gonna see a turnaround today. We'll get into it. And we'll look at it. Let's get into this chat. Good morning, Selmo. What's going on, dog? The Junior, good morning. Well, good morning. Ken, good morning. How are you, Ken? Did we call this joint? We called it on Friday, man. I told you guys what was going to happen. We called it, man. It is what it is. Thailand just shut its stock market exchange. They ain't looking good over there, man. Canada ain't looking good over there, dog. It ain't looking good. But we here. We're gonna do our thing. I'm gonna tell you guys what I'm doing. I'm gonna tell you guys how I'm playing this joint, and what's going on. What I'm doing in this joint. Are the Fed's gonna raise rates some more? Ooh, they're forcing their hand. Their hands are getting forced. Their hands are getting forced right now. Their hands are getting forced to cut rates. They want the rates cut. The Trump administration wants them rates cut, not raised. We gonna see. Powell's holding strong. He was on the other day. He was on Friday, I believe it was, doing a little interview, and he said, the Fed is going to hold the line because the jobs report came out and it looked really, really solid. So he said that they're going to hold the line. So, the administration and the Fed is in a battle right now of whether interest rates are going to remain the same with no cuts, or if they're going to go ahead and cut the rates and see what happens. Heat, what's going on? Yo, got to play this market, Heat. Got to play this market for what it is, man. And this market's not looking good at all. We got a lot of stuff going on. The Asian markets, we look and see where they left off this last night. They got dominated. They got absolutely crushed. in the Asian markets. But you got China with these reciprocal tariffs coming out, and this tariff war going on. It got dominated. European markets wake up this morning. They start trading over there with my man Ken is. Ken's running for the hills. He's dollar. He's stabling up over here, baby. And you know, they're getting crushed too. In the EU is talking about coming back with some reciprocal tariff as well. They're going through their stuff. So, yo, make no doubt about it. We're in a full-fledged, call it what they want. We're in a full-fledged trade war, which is going to lead to a recession. It's going to happen if we continue down this path. And this recession is tariff induced, right? And the only way out of this situation is for some negotiation. And the United States pre-markets are absolutely getting crushed. They're absolutely getting crushed this morning, which leads me to even more of what I was saying over here about, are we headed to Black Monday, where the stock exchange is going to actually lose all of its gains, right? Which it already has, and drop 20 to 30% on a Black Monday. When you see what's going on over here, and you read more and more about Black Monday that happened somewhere up in I want to say the 80s. But you know, we're on the same track. We're on the same trajectory as what happened on that Black Monday. You know, you have a Thursday sell-off, you have a Friday sell-off, and then, you know, 1987's right here, Black Monday in this event where you had the stock markets just absolutely tank out, right? And that very well could happen today. When we look at where the stock market is, it's setting up just like it's set up on this Black Monday. And that's not good. We don't want that. That's not good. That's not good for anybody, because we know that if this happens, the S&P is about to get crushed, the Dow, everywhere else, and you're about to have a market reset. Is what's about to happen. Is you're about to have a market reset, and that's not good. Jack Dorsey says that BTC BTC, yo, BTC is in a reset as well. You know, XRP to 1. Good morning. Boy, we are in a market downturn, right? But you look at Dow futures, man, they're getting smashed right now. This United States market is getting absolutely crushed. The Asian market got crushed earlier. The European market's getting crushed right now. And the in the United States pre-markets look like they are about to get absolutely dominated. And not good. This isn't good for anybody. Let's go ahead. Let's just pull the S&P back, 3 months, right? And we know that crypto follows the S&P, right? You know, you look at it, it follows the S&P. You can look at this, and this thing has absolutely fallen off a cliff. Good morning, Elmo. Good morning. So when we look at Black Monday, a Black Monday event, this is absolutely a sell-off and a reset. I think that this is a reset. It's a complete reset of the market, and when we'll get into a lot of this price action and stuff here in a minute, but you know, when you look at this and you come over here and you look at the total 3, you know, I'm a big total 3 person. You look at the total 3 and where we're at here. You're going to see, well, even if you look at Bitcoin, right? You're going to see, we'll look at Bitcoin right now. This was the Trump run-up. This was that November run-up, right? This was that November run-up. and you look at it, and you've given back half. We've given back more than half of all the gains right there during that run up. Sitting at 77,200 right now, Bitcoin. We giving back half during this downturn. This isn't a downturn, guys. People call it what you want, man. This is a downturn. This is an absolute crash, right? So it's an absolute crash. So call it what you want, but this is where we're at. You see, Bitcoin's giving back half of its gains since the election. You know, when you pull this chart back and you really start to dig down into the numbers, you know, you come over here to the total 3, right? You come over here to the total 3 and you look at it, and this is all your altcoins minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. Guess what? This was the election run up right here. This was the election run up right there, where we're sitting right around 586 billion right there at the bottom of that. And right now we're sitting at 692 billion, roughly about 100 billion off of where we were. That's a lot of money coming out of this market, coming out of this crypto market, and in a short period of time, in just a matter of a couple of days. So we can look in the video real quick, because that $94 on the video right now. Man, this thing was trying to touch 200 up in here. This thing was trying to touch 200 up in here. Looking at $94 in the video right now. Absolutely hammered. And they're exempt from the tariffs, which just lets you know that when you look at this over here in the stock market, when you look at this, this thing is not going anywhere. This thing's not going anywhere, but down. What's up, Scottish? What's up, Scottish? Good morning, my brother. So I do believe we're going to have this Black Monday event. You're going to have a massive sell-off today. Massive sell-off in the stock market, which is going to also force a massive sell-off in the cryptocurrency market today. I think you're going to see a sell-off. You know, I hope I'm wrong. You know, I hope I'm wrong. I hope when we're sitting here saying this, we're wrong, but damn sure don't look that way. We weren't wrong. We weren't wrong on Friday when I said to you guys, by Sunday you're going to see this market crash. We're going to see this market come down. This is a shakeout. Are you shorting anything today? No, Scottish. I'll tell you guys actually what I'm doing right now. We can look at it. We'll look at this. Look at this cryptocurrency market. We'll look at the bubbles, right? Obviously, they're all in red. You know, the hour is turning green, but you know, green from what, right? Green from what? You know, you look at this thing. Ethereum sitting at $1,498. Green from yesterday. You know, green from this big pullback. I'm not shorting anything today, Scottish, because I do believe that when the stock market opens, what you're going to see is you're going to see the sell-off happen. And when the sell-off happens, the bottom, nobody's going to know where that's at. You know, nobody's going to know where that's at. And I think we're in for a big push down. In the fear about shorting anything in the market right now and playing with the futures is at any, because this is all tariff induced, at any moment in time, if there's a deal that's struck with any of these major countries, and the tariffs are actually lifted or the tariffs come down, then that's going to pump the market. And because it's not a situation that's induced by jobs, that's induced by any of this other stuff, it's too hard to call, right? You get a piece of news that comes out in 5 minutes, and the next thing you know, the market's taking off, right? And you don't want to be in that situation where you look at this thing and all of a sudden now the EU nations or China or somebody else comes to the United States, they strike a deal, the market takes off, and then you're stuck in that short. So short an XRP would be the thing to do. Yeah, I mean, you could look at all of these cryptos, right? You could come over here, you could look at all of them, and you could say, taking a short on any of these, it could be a good thing to do. But what's going to happen, if if you get that piece of news and then all of a sudden the market takes off, you're stuck in it. You're gonna lose that short. Best thing to do, I know everybody, this is what I'm doing. Everybody's talking about DCA, DCA, DCA. We talk about DCA all the time, right? Fuck the tariffs. The tariffs are rough, man. They're rough, man. And that's why we are where we are. We gotta acknowledge that, right? We're not in this situation when it comes to the markets because of anything other than a tariff situation, right? So this is a self-imposed situation, and it could create or may create a worldwide recession if we don't get some negotiation going on, right? So, you know, um, I don't particularly care for what's going on, but we have to go with what we have, right? The situation is the situation, and there's nothing we're gonna do about it. Uh, What's up, Mr. Bits? Yeah, Glenn, Mr. Marvitz, baby. But what I'm doing is literally, I took all of my profits off the table yesterday. Anything that I was in profit in, I took it off the table yesterday. Um, I'm not sitting on it. I literally was like, all right, we're just gonna stable up, right, and see what happens today when the markets opened. And the Asian markets open, they didn't like crypto. They basically sold off, right? European markets opened. They started out liking crypto, and as you guys can see now, when we started streaming, Bitcoin was at 77,000. We're looking at 76,999 right now, so it's starting to want to come below 77,000 right now, right? So when you look at it, I stabled up all of my profits. And we're going to see what happens when the United States markets open, right? And I may deploy some capital into this market, and I may just wait to deploy some capital into this market, right? And we're gonna have to play this thing out and see how it goes. You got XRP sitting at $1.79 right now. Does that touch $1.50? Right, that's the question. Is that going to touch $1.50? And we're going to see. You're going to hold your markets. Like I said, anything I was in profit with, I took off the table, right? Like, and I'm okay with that, right? I'm good with that. Like I can stable up, and I can be good and deploy capital back into the market. But what I'm not going to do, you see BTC at 70, very well could go to 70. Very well could. Cost too much to race. I don't know. I didn't get in the race. 166. 166 was the bottom. Was the bottom today? Yeah, it was the bottom today. 166. I seen it. I seen the bottom sitting at 166 on XRP. But thing about it is you had that European quick pump, and now let's see what happens when the markets open here in the United States. A lot of people are going to risk off, right? A lot of people are going to risk off, and when they go risk off, what's the one thing that they get rid of first is crypto, because it's the riskiest asset they hold. So when you start to go risk off, big money starts to go risk off. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. I mean, when you look at it, you got the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index sitting over here at 17. This thing was up in the 30s on Friday when we were streaming. This thing is 17. Altcoin season obviously took a step back to 14 out of 100. You look at the market cap sitting at $2.44 trillion, absolutely got dominated this weekend. And I told you guys this was going to happen. Like, look at this over the weekend. Look at what happened. Because cryptocurrency was holding up so strong versus the markets in general, you knew it was going to take a pullback. And one of the reasons that I think the cryptocurrency market was able to hold on a little bit longer than the stock market was because I keep trying to tell you guys, I don't believe that there's a lot of retail in cryptocurrency. A lot of this is institutional money, right? So they're able to hold out, right? They're able to hold out a lot longer than retail money. If retail money was driving a cryptocurrency market, you would have seen a Thursday and Friday like you've seen in the stock market, right? But because institutional money is really holding this down, as far as BTC goes, XRP goes, Ethereum goes, all that goes, because institutional money is really holding the majority of that, they were able to hold on for a little bit longer, but they weren't going to be able to hold this downturn off. They weren't going to be able to hold it off. Never get attached to a crypto. Never, Scottish, get attached to a crypto at all. I tell people all the time, when you buy a crypto, you better know when you're going to sell that crypto, right? As soon as you buy into a project, you better have an exit strategy, right? You never get attached to a project. You never get married to a project, because you're here to make money, right? And you don't make money by getting attached to things. Unless you're a dev. Yeah, unless you're a dev. I mean, that's like being a CEO. But when you look at the outflows, even on Friday, when it came to Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, you're looking at 64 million in Bitcoin and 2.1 million in Ethereum. But that's after massive sell-offs the day before, right? So there really wasn't a lot left. There really wasn't a lot left for these guys to get rid of as far as retail investors go. And Bitcoin's dominant, 62.9%. You continue to see that go up. Ethereum's dominance continues to go down, 7.4%. And the altcoin dominance, the rest of the altcoin dominance continues to go down at 29.7%. Everybody is running for safety up in Bitcoin, or stabling up, one or the other, because of this market. Make no doubt. I'll tell you guys this straight up. This is my opinion. This is kind of where I shake out on this whole thing. Right now is not the time. It's not the time to be getting into newly launched projects. Not the time to be getting into a lot of low market cap projects. Because I will tell you guys straight up, a lot of them won't be around because a lot of the devs don't have enough money to hold off this downturn, right? They're relying on taxes. They're relying on tokens. They're relying on all of this other stuff to build out what they want to build out. And the money's just not there. Now is not the time to be investing in any type of plays that don't have a use case already built out, or don't have a use case that is going to change the game, right? Now, Bitcoin can hold off this downturn, no problem. It's gonna see some selling. It's gonna see some price dip. It's gonna see all of that. But for a fact that where Bitcoin is, it'll bounce back. Ethereum has enough money and has enough investors to hold off this process. XRP has a shit ton of money and a crap ton of innovation behind them that they can hold off any downturn that the market gives them. Obviously, we've seen that with the SEC case. They can hold off any pressure that they're under right now. B&B, same thing, right? You get into these top 100s and you look at them and you go, okay, these guys have enough money, enough venture capitalists, enough money behind them that they can survive. They can survive. Let's just say you got to go worst case scenario. They can survive a recession. Let's just call it what it is. These tokens can survive because they already have. But can a project that's sitting at $4 or $5 million survive a recession? You better ask yourself that question before you put your money up in there. You know what I mean? I'm telling you guys right now, I wouldn't be putting my money in anything outside of the top 100, specifically the top 50 right now. You know, and when we look at meme coins, people say, well, what about Pepe, right? Well, when you look at Pepe and you look at the biggest holders of Pepe, they're the cryptocurrency exchanges. So they can hold off that recession because the exchanges hold the majority of them tokens. So we know that the exchanges aren't going anywhere. Binance, Coinbase, all them guys, where they going? They ain't going nowhere. Same thing with Pi. I mean, Pi will be here. It's going to take a hit, you know, as it has. It's going to take a hit, but it can hold off during the recession just because of the way it's built. I'm hurting you, Junior. I'm just keeping it 100, man. Like you can't, you know, like when you have projects out here that are low market cap, how long can they hang on before, if we go into an extended recession, which I don't think we will, I think that this right here, what we're going through is a negotiating ploy for tariffs, right? But how long is it going to take before this market starts to recover, both the stock market and the crypto market? How long it takes to recover before this market starts to go back to the upside, right? And you got to have, the bottom line is, when you're a CEO of a company or you're a project or you're a dev, you better have capital if you are going to survive this downturn. And if you don't have capital, you're going to be in trouble, because you look at it, and if you launch a project right now and it's attached to Solana, and you launch that project when Solana was at $150 or $125, and now all of a sudden Solana's teetering underneath $100, that's going to hurt your project. What if Solana goes to $80? Where is your project going to be? How are you going to survive that? A lot of devs can't survive that. They don't have enough capital. Yeah, we were in a recession. We've been in a recession here in the United States. They're just not calling it a recession. But these tariffs are going to increase inflation throughout the world. They're going to increase the deficit throughout the world. I don't care what anybody says. It's going to increase the trade deficit throughout the world. And nobody's going to have the confidence to invest in risk on assets during this time. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. No pussies allowed. It's about being real, though. Like it's not even about that. It's about protecting your money. It's about protecting your finances. It's about saying to yourself, how am I going to put myself in the best situation to be successful in these markets, right? So I'm telling you guys right now, like I took my profits, I stabled up in my profits. I will deploy that capital back into the market at the right time. at the right time, I will. And I'm not DCAing. Come for me, the big DCA guy. You know, I always tell you guys DCA, DCA, DCA. I'm not deploying any capital until I see what happens today in the stock market. Tell you guys right now, not deploying anything. Do I miss the absolute bottom? I don't know. We'll see. But the one thing that I'm not going to do is continue to deploy capital on a falling knife, right? I mean, you look at Chainlink right now, sitting at $10.80 right now. This thing was roughly $15 just last week, right? So yeah, you could DCA all the way down. You could continue to DCA, you know, and you can continue to deploy your capital all the way down that ladder. You're gonna get exhausted. You're gonna get you're gonna get exhausted, right? Instead of just sitting back doing nothing, chilling out, waiting. Let's see what happens. Let's see where the market goes, right? And then deploy your capital at that point, right? But if you just and this is sounds really odd coming from me because I will tell you guys DCA, DCA, DCA until the end of time, but now is not that time. Now is the time to figure out where the market's headed. Because you're going to exhaust all your funds, right? You're going to exhaust your funds trying to chase everything. You know, you look at SUI sitting at $1.83. The lowest it's been in 6 months. It hasn't been. This is the lowest this price has been in 6 months. Are you jumping on that right now? You could, or you could wait for the markets to open. You could wait and say, do we get in at 150 as the market starts to sell off? You know, and what's the harm in waiting if it's at $1.82 versus $1.92 or $2? Are you protecting your money at that point, or are you just DCAing into a fallen knife? The same with HBAR sitting at 13 cents. I'm a huge HBAR fan. I think HBAR is going to play a monster role in this market. Hell, HBAR is talking about being one of the people that are going to invest in TikTok, right? But let's make no doubt, this thing was sitting at 22 cents just a couple weeks ago, on its way to 30 cents actually. Now it's sitting at 13 cents. If you would have tried to DCA all the way down through that, you would have exhausted yourself. You would have had nothing left. When my number comes up, sell. I mean, I've taken XRP to XRP. I've taken like all my profits off the table, right? But you know, I also know that I'm going to deploy that capital back into the market. It's just a matter of where, right? It's just a matter of where. Now I'm telling you, like, where I did take my profits off the table doesn't necessarily mean that that's where I'm going to deploy my capital when I feel like this market's ready for me to put that money back into the market. I may decide to deploy that capital somewhere else. You know what I mean? But my profits are secure. They're sitting in USDC gaining 4.1% right now. Buy more. You're going to exhaust yourself. If you try to, let's say this thing goes on for another, let's just call it a week, right? You're going to exhaust yourself trying to just continue to buy more. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Let's take Pi as a prime example. Let's say you weren't mining Pi, but you were buying Pi, right? And you looked at this thing and you were going to DCA down into Pi. And you pulled this thing back, you know, for a month, right? Let's say you just bought in right here and you tried to DCA all the way down through here. You wouldn't have enough. You would have ran out of capital. It fell too far. Sometimes you have to recognize when the market falls too far for you to continue to DCA in, and sometimes you have to wait. You know, we can pull Pepe up at the same time. You know, we can look at Pepe and we can talk about the same. We can talk about the same thing, right? Um, let's have a look. Let's have a look at my boy Pepe, right? Look at this. Now we were DCAing, you know, we were DCAing in a Pepe coming. You know, we own Pepe all the way back here on this channel, like literally all the way back here. So we should still be, you know, you should have made some money, right? But let's say you started DCAing in a Pepe right here at 509, right? At 509. This thing's sitting at 5060, right? You would have DCA'd all the way down here, bought the sideways action right here, and then as if it falls today, you have to DCA even more. How much capital are you willing to put into one project? That's the question. Whereas if you just waited, maybe this thing gets down to 5055, and that's where you start to buy. That's where you start your DCA. That's where you say, all right, I think that this thing has hit its bottom. I think that this thing, even if it hasn't hit its bottom, I know that I'm getting the best bang for my buck down in that area right there, right? But sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. You know, I'll give you another example. Let's look at something like where are we gonna go with this? Because people are talking about all of this stuff bouncing back like immediately, right? They're talking about, oh, this is going to bounce back. This market's going to come back. It's going to come back, you know, quickly. And I'm telling you, quickly from what? Let's look at Aerodrome Finance. Let's pull this thing back, baby. Let's pull this. This is a big project over there on base, right? This project ain't no joke, right? It's a big project. Sitting at 29 cents. This thing launched. The first liquidity that was put into this at launch, right, was at it was at 17 cents. You are damn near the first buy on this damn project at 29 cents. Think about that for a minute. You're damn near the first time liquidity was ever put into this project. You're damn near there. You look at Pice. You look at Pice Network on Solana, which is going to be, you know, one of my picks for the second half. The second half of the bull run going to be a runner. It's literally at its lowest point ever. Ever. It's at its lowest point. So, do you buy that, or do you say, "Oh boy, I better wait. I better see what's going on with this market because it could be going lower." It's full military planner. Military planner. Yo, Ken, yo, we throwing it down, man. Like, come on, man. Sometimes you gotta wait. Sometimes when people are sitting up here telling you, oh, just DCA in, just DCA in, just DCA in. No, sometimes you have to shut the hell up, sit back, look at the chart, see what the hell's going on, look at the economic situation in the world, and figure out, is this the best time for me to be deploying my capital? The answer to that question right now, in my opinion, this isn't financial advice, but in my opinion, is hell no. Hell no. It's not the best time for you to be deploying your capital. When you have Apple and Nvidia and Google and you insert one of the Mag 7s, anyone you want, when you have them guys over here and they're literally purging money trillions of dollars out of their companies. What in the hell would make you think for 1 second that this market is going to scoop up that liquidity? If people aren't buying the Mag 7 right now, do you really think that they're going to come over here and buy Ethereum? Think about it for a minute. We're talking about heavy investors. We're talking about people that can move the market. We're not talking about average people like me and you who come in here and we dump money into the market and we hope that it moves, right? Because we don't have enough capital to move this needle, right? You don't have enough capital to move Solana. None of us sitting in this chat right now have enough capital to move Solana, XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, or any of these top 100. So what would make you think that this big money over here is going to put their money in Cardano, which is an absolute steal right now? If Cardano, I'll tell you right now, if Cardano gets down to 50 cents, I will buy. If XRP gets down to 150, I will be buying more. Bitcoin, I'm telling you guys, I will be moving more and more capital to Bitcoin. I will be moving more and more capital to Bitcoin, depending on how far down it goes, right? Look at, we're just sitting here talking. This thing just continues to drop. It continues to fall off the fucking cliff. It was 77 when we were talking about it. Now it's 76.4. You know, like this isn't rocket science, right? This isn't rocket science. And I know I'm being a little bearish right now, but I'm telling you, deploying your capital right now, you're deploying it on a falling knife. You know, and if you're deploying it in projects over here with low market caps, you're probably going to get wrecked. Will you recover from that? Maybe if they're around. I can tell you who will be around. I can tell you who will be around during this downturn. When people love meme coins. They want to invest in meme coins. That's their thing, right? That's their shit, right? That's what they want to do, right? And they'll go out there and they'll look at the next shiny object and they'll come back in the crypto market crying when they're deploying capital like this. But I'll tell you who will be around. You love meme coins? Fuck around up here. Fuck around up here. Mess around with Pepe. You know, I don't trust the official Trump token. I'll tell you that right now. I wouldn't deploy any capital in there. Look at it, 750 right now. That thing absolutely got dominated. But mess around with Pepe. You know, mess around with Bonk, mess around with Floki, you know, mess around with Firecourt, mess around with SPX 6900. They have enough capital to withstand this selling pressure that's going on right now. You know what I mean? They just do. But you know, let's go have a look, you know. And I know we talk about Marbits, right? 356K. And this project has capital. Can't hold off the pressure, the sell pressure. I don't give a shit what they do. They can't hold it off. We look at another project that I was high on. You know, Stealth AI, 147K right now. Look at that fucking chart. What are you going to do with that chart? You going to DCA into that chart? No. You're not. We can look at trouble. I have money locked up in trouble, right? I love the project. I think the project will be around for a while, but am I DCAing into that? No. It just doesn't have enough. It doesn't have enough juice behind it, right? right now in the market. It just doesn't have enough juice. So, I mean, shit, you look at Miggles. Miggles is one of the biggest meme coins out. This thing's got Binance and everybody else buying into it, right? Look at that chart. Look at that chart. And this is on daily. Look at that. What are you going to do with that? If you were DCA, you would have no money left. None. You'd be broke. Stay the hell away. Let these projects shake themselves out. Let them shake themselves out. Before you go all in. And this is, I'm only telling you this because I don't want to see you get wrecked. XRP was at 0.06. Which is, yeah, I mean XRP. The thing about XRP is at some point, here's what's going to happen. At some point, the Bitcoin whales are going to step in and say, all right, we're done losing money. And that's when you'll see the price reverse. The same with Ethereum. The XRP whales will step in. They tried. The XRP whales, the XRP the one, I'm telling you, I watched the XRP chart for the past couple days, man. The whales tried their hardest to hold this thing at $2. I mean, they tried to hold this sell-off off. And it just could not happen. There was too much big money that was selling on top of them. They just could not do it. I'll give them credit. They battled their ass off to try to hold this thing at $2. They got exhausted, right? They got exhausted. The money got exhausted, right? The same with Solana. I watched some of Solana. Solana is doing its best. The whales in Solana are trying their hardest to hold this thing at $100. They can't do it. There's way too much sell pressure on that chart right now. Way too much. And I'm talking big sell pressure. I mean, they're trying. The whales are trying. They were trying, and they're getting exhausted. And this is what happens. You have whales that step in, and they really try to hold these charts together. But you know what? They run out of capital too. And these big lizard people that are sitting here that want these markets to go down, they suck liquidity out, and they suck you out, and they suck you dry. Same with Chainlink. When you look at this thing sitting at $10.68 right now, this is a dream for institutional investors. An absolute dream for XRP to be down. An absolute dream for Cardano to be down. For Chainlink to be down. Because they are slowly, and I say this to you, slowly accumulating. And a lot of it's OTC, over the counter, so you'll never see it on a chart, right? But they are slowly accumulating these ISO cryptos. And when they have enough, when they feel like they have enough of the supply, that's when they'll take the foot off the neck of some of these projects. And make no doubt, XRP is suppressed. Big institutions are suppressing XRP. Big institutions are suppressing Chainlink. Big institutions are suppressing AVAX and Cardano and Algorand and all the rest, and Stellar. They're suppressing these projects. So what are you going to do? What are you going to play the game? You better know what game you're playing before you get into the game. You better know what game you're playing. This isn't your 2000. This isn't your 1990 crypto, 2000 crypto. Even 2022 crypto. This is a different game that's being played right now. And you better know what game it is. And this is an institutional game that's being played right now. And if you try to fight the institutions in this downturn and in this game, you will lose. you don't have enough money. You don't. None of us do. And a lot of people don't understand that. Junior, go clock in, dog. Go clock in, dog. Go get your money. But you don't think that big institutions are buying H bar right now? You're absolutely fooling yourself. And you don't think that this crypto market coming out of whatever downturn that we're going to come out of, right? Wherever this thing lands, you don't think that institutions will come out of this thing stronger than when they went in? They'll come out of this thing stronger. GG, bro. About to throw my phone out of the window. Yo, yeah. Come on, Ali, man. We're just being 100, man. We just keeping it 100. Enough for this morning. But I'm telling you, these chain link prices right here at $10, they're a dream. They're a dream. You just have to make a decision on where you want to get in. You have to make a decision on where you want to get in. Ethereum under $1,500. That could be a dream for a lot of people if that's your entry point, right? XRP, I'm telling you, a $1.50, a monster entry point. Just turn it off. XRP at $1.50. I'm telling you, you're gonna see a lot of people try to scoop that up. It's a dream. We're in a big market reset. How you gonna play this game? How you gonna play it? Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes down to 70K, and you've seen that it went up to 160, is that not a dream for you to accumulate some more of that? It really is, and there's your opportunity, right? Now we talked about this nasty market, but where's your opportunities, right? Pepe sitting at 5060 right now, and we always talk about 5055. That's an entry point at 5055, because when it goes to 40s, 16, 12 or whatever, look, you're already on a double up. Where a lot of people were they were getting in at that price. So that's a dream, But boy, I don't know. We got to get some tariff for negotiations. Israel's coming. Israel's coming down to the White House today to try to negotiate these tariffs away. Vietnam been on the phone. They look like they want to go to a zero tariff. EU nations, they want to turn around and do reciprocal tariffs or more tariffs. China's doing more tariffs. I don't blame them. I don't blame these guys for going back and forth. But at some point, we got to come to a resolution of where we're going to land. And that's what we got to do. Oh, but make no doubt, XRP, when this market turns, when the crypto market turns the other direction, and we start pointing in the upward direction, make no doubt about it, your ISO tokens will run, and they will take off to the likes that you ain't seen them take off before. The key is just when the turn is. I mean, we look at Ondo. Ondo was at 60 something cents when we just looked at it this morning, right? BlackRock's behind Ondo. We know that, right? What's going to happen when they release their blockchain that's half public, half private, right? And they start trading real world tokenized assets on the exchange on there? That thing's going to take off. Take off like we haven't seen it take off before. But what I'm trying to say to you, does Ondo go to 50 cents before it makes that turn to $5, $10, $15, $50, wherever you got it? That's the question. But make no doubt, Ando will make this turn. It will make a turn. And when it does, it's going to go. I don't think so, Selma. I'm with you. I think there's going to be more pain before we make the turn. I don't think the worst is over yet. I think there'll be a little bit more pain before we make the turn, but I think when we do make the turn's going to be absolutely massive. It'll be massive. There's Big Watch, dude. What's up? But what's going to turn the market, Big Watch? It's going to be the negotiations. This is a tariff-induced downturn, right? So the only way out of this is a negotiation with these tariffs, right? So we can come to some sort of middle ground, right? But I think there's bigger things at play here, right? I don't think it's all about the tariffs. I don't think that that's why we are where we are. I think it is, but the bigger picture is the administration is trying to, we went over this before, the administration is trying to force the Fed's hand into cutting interest rates because the United States is in this, over $4 trillion debt. They have to refinance that debt within the next year, the majority of it. And they can't do it with the interest rates as they sit, right? They have to have lower interest rates in order to make that make sense. And they're trying to force the Fed's hand for more interest rate cuts so that they can refinance this debt. And that's what I think that's the bigger thing at play right here right now, Big Watch, is that's the end game, right? And Powell is saying, no, man, jobs numbers look good. Inflation data is kind of, staying pretty much steady where it is. It's a bad situation. They're digging themselves out of inflation. So we're just going to stay the course. Well, you want to raise inflation? Put tariffs on people. You want to raise the price of goods? Put tariffs on people. You want to bring in revenue to your government? Put tariffs on people. You want to force the Fed's hand because companies eventually will start feeling the pain of this? Put tariffs on people. And then you'll get lower interest rates, right? Because you basically just crushed the economy. And then you get lower interest rates, you refinance the debt. All of a sudden, everybody gets happy because they have interest rates cuts. They start investing their money back into the market. They start going more risk on, and boom, the market takes off. That's the end game. That's what's going to happen. You're an XRP holder. You love pain. XRP, that's what I'm saying. But that's why I'm telling you guys to stay in the top 100, specifically top 50, because these projects have enough money in their coffers to continue to develop their projects during this downturn, right? So, so stay in the top 100, specifically top 50 is my suggestion. And my suggestion is you don't have to deploy capital every time the market pulls back a little bit. You'll exhaust all your money. Wait and see what happens. And if you're in profits, you either believe that the market's going to turn, right? You believe that the market's going to turn and you're not going to lose all your profits, or you take your profits off the table and then wait for the market to go down and go back in. Them are your only options, really. You have no other option. But I think Big Watch, I think that's how the market's going to turn around. That's the real game that's being played with big money right now, and in between the governments. It's really all about the debt, and it's really all about refinancing that debt. If Powell was to come out tomorrow and say, hey, we're going to cut interest rates by 25% this time, 25% next time, and 15 and we'll hold pat and we'll give you guys 4 interest rate cuts this year. You would see the whole conversation around tariffs and everything else change. You'd see that whole conversation kind of go away, and people would act like it never happened. You know, but that's what's being forced right now. Because you have to refinance $4 trillion, right? A debt. You got to refinance that, and until you do that, your situation just went from bad to worse. Tim Ski, where the hell you been? Give me $50, baby. I'm about to get off here in a minute, but yeah. So we'll see what happens. But I do think that it's a good thing that some of these countries are starting to come in and say, let's renegotiate our tariffs, right? Let's renegotiate what's going on, because make no doubt about it, like the United States have been getting robbed for a while. Do I agree with how these tariffs were rolled out? Oh, hell no. No. Do I think that there needs to be some more balanced trade? Yeah. But the way that they rolled them out, was that the smart move for investors? Was that the smartest move for the economy? No. That was pretty dumb. But it's how it was done. There was a better way to do this. There definitely was a better way to do this. In my opinion. Now, if you get to the end result, right? And the end result is free and open trade, then yeah. I mean, you've accomplished your goal, but there definitely was a better way to get there. So that's just how I see it, but other than that, we're gonna get out of here. Look at market turn red this hour. Try to tell you, watch out today, guys. When the stock market opens, this could be a nasty day. This could be a nasty day, but we'll go through these nasty days to get to good days. But like I said, Ethereum fell below 1.5K for the first time since March of 2023. So we're giving back all of our gains, but we'll see what happens today. Be careful is what I can tell you. Be careful. Don't be out here blowing your wad all today because these prices look great to you. Kick back, chill out, see what's going to great stream. Thanks, Ken. Kick back, chill out, see where the market's going to go, see where the market opens up. Asian market, we seen where they went. European market, we seen where they're going. See where the United States market's headed. Don't be out here, blowing your wad all today because you see prices that you haven't seen, since 2022. And just be very, very careful. And if you are going to buy, make sure that when you buy, there's a possibility that you could be holding on to that for a couple months, and you got to be comfortable with that. So be very careful with that. Are you expecting? Big watch. I'm expecting some more pain today. Actually, I'm expecting some more pain today. Waiting for the $50 quant. It's coming. It could be coming in, Selma. Quant's getting hit pretty bad. There's Seiko. Give me $50, baby. What's up, Seiko? We on our way up out of here, and you stepping in here. But yeah, big watch. I'm expecting a little bit more of a pullback, a little bit more of some pain. How much more? I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, at some point the Bitcoin whales are going to step in and say, enough's enough, and we're buying. At some point, the XRP whales will step in and say, all right, we're back. And we're going to go ahead and really start buying the chart up, so on and so forth, So how much of a pullback, I don't know. I think we may end up giving up the whole Trump run, really, to be honest with you, Big Watch. I think you see the Trump run here. Let's look at the total, right? Here's your Trump run from November all the way up to Election Day, right? We're on a total 3, right around 581 billion, right? We've already started to give back over half of that run up. You may give back the other half, Big Watch. You may end up giving back the other half before you turn, and here's why. You look at this RSI right here, and it's clearly. It looks like it's oversold right now. So, but that it's starting to point in a downward direction as well. So, even though it's oversold, it's there's no signs of it moving up, right? On this stochastic RSI. So, that just means that it's going to come down a little bit more. So we'll see what happens, but be careful. Be careful out there, guys. And we'll be back at you guys on Wednesday. We'll see where this thing goes. But like I told you guys, like I stabled up all my profits. I wasn't waiting. Stabled up all of them last night. As soon as I seen the Asian market start to sell off, I knew that they weren't going to have a good day either. So I stabled up all my profits, and we will go back in. Go back in, and we will deploy that capital again. Just a matter of where and when. But all right, guys, we up out of here, and I don't know. Seiko's been quiet because Pelosi is losing all her fortune in the market. Thanks, bro. No problem, man. You guys have a good day. I'll get back at you guys on Wednesday. We'll be back at it. And everybody have a good day. Be safe out there. Be smart. And don't be listening to these yahoos that are just keeping telling you, oh, just buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Yeah, buy the dip, but don't just continually buy the dip, all the way down. Wait for it to bottom out. And then go ahead and deploy your capital then. So, all right, guys, we up out of here, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.